Hey there, hello, there's Jeff Cutter and welcome you to another Stone Cold Hockey WHA season. We're doing the 78-79 WHA season, the final season in World Hockey Association history. As you see, there are 7 teams trying to get to be King of the Hill and all that. Edmonton looking good at 15-5. Quebec, New England, and Winnipeg always looking good. Those 4 teams got to the NHL by um, merger. Cincy, Birmingham, and Indy did not. Cincy's got the fifth and final playoff spot right now. Birmingham, the baby Bulls don't look too hot, and the Indianapolis Racers are in deep trouble at 3-17. Time is running out for Indianapolis. They're almost ready to fold. Nevertheless, the goal scoring race is all Quebec. Cloutier, Bernier, traded top three. Points wise, Cloutier, Nielsen, and Mark Howe. So looking good. Jim Corsi, the goalie. So Quebec has got some odd numbers. Rashes. Hat tricks. Only 8 people have hit a hat trick. 4 games have hit the 30 mark for fan votes. Quebec, Edmonton for November 21st, when Edmonton looked good, but it was a 13-goal battle, a comeback from 3 goals down, and then 5 lead changes. Winnipeg, Birmingham. When Winnipeg was up 5-1 on Birmingham the first game of the season, Birmingham scored 5 straight goals to win the game by Tibout. Winnipeg, Indy, no, October 28th, when Indy was 2-4, were decent. They were up 4-1, but the Jets came back to win 6-5. And when the Racers won a game against New England, being down 4-1. So we are going to do the Saturday matchups. Well, we're going to do Indy versus Birmingham, Cincy versus Quebec, and New England versus Edmonton. Yeah, and New England versus Edmonton. All right, so our first game of the triple header is Indy versus Birmingham. Eddie Meal in the nets for the Racers against Pat Regan for Birmingham, who's the backup to Ernie Wakely, but Pat Regan would be a better NHL goalie playing for the Bruins since played since 1986. Gary Innes, Gary Smith from Indianapolis, and basically the team is ready to pack him up. They're 3-17. That's 20 games. This is game 21. They've only played 25 games, and yes, the format is that they play 25 games and then basically disappear. So Indy has Blaine, and this will be the last time we'll have Blaine Stout and the Indianapolis Racers on television because of the fact that they'll be folding, and then we'll have the Czech national team and the Soviet national team playing like in the next 2 videos. So anyway, Indy has Blaine Stoughton, who moves on to Hartford, Don Larway, Rich Leduc, Claude LaRose, former Hab, Michelle Perso, former Nordique, Gary McGregor, Renee Leclerc, Dave Morrill, I don't know where he ends up, but Larry Sakarak, Al McLeod, Bruce Grieg, Kevin Nugent, Dave Inkpen, John Hughes, Wes George, Clemson Support, a young Wayne Gretzky, Kenny Black, Peter Driscoll, Angie Moretto, Dean McGee, Byron Baltimore, Don Burgess, Jerry Rollins, and Glenn Irwin. The Birmingham Bulls, the baby Bulls, getting the youngsters. Rick Five, who would go on to have a 50-goal season with the Leafs, the first Leaf to ever do so. Michel Goulet, who would do well for Quebec and Chicago. Rick Adorno, Paul Henderson, just that Paul Henderson, who scored the Canada goal in the 72 Summit Series. Why he's not in the Hall of Fame, I don't know. John Stewart, Craig Hartsburg, future defenseman for the North Stars, and head coach Rob Ramich, I should have said he who shall not be named, for his involvement in his vehicular manslaughter of one Keith Megson. Bob Stevenson, Steve Alley, Wayne Dillon, Louis Slager, who got in trouble 5 years later for ruining Jean Hamel's career. Dave Gorman, Gaston Shingra, who played for the Habs and Leafs. Dave Hansen, Serge Baudouin, Tony Castellano, Jim Turkowitz, Peter Moran, Greg Tabut, Brett Hughes, and Gavin Kirk and Creek Crowder. Here we go. 3 minutes into the game. Indy, nothing. And then Secure! The Daily Show, his fourth from Gorman. I don't know. 4 minutes later. No shot. Shot. Oh, what a stop. Turkowitz thought he scored. 2 minutes later, William took his penalty with Hansen. No shot by Indy. There's a goal. Skill or power play goal. West George from Paris and Larose. 1-1. 4 minutes later. Battle. Double hit. Agitator. Get a chance by Indy. Leduc. No. 1-1 after 20. 5 minutes later. It's your bad. It's time from Julian. I don't want to. I think it'll be good. Baby bull, not the baby bull, the baby bull, baby bull. 3 minutes to go. Skill. Patty So, his fourth from Leduc and Morel. Makes it 2-2. 3 minutes later. There's a fight. It's Hughes and Ramage. Oh, yeah. Rob Ramage. Fuck that guy. Skillers! Patterson second of the night from Grieg and Indies up 3-2. Do they have a chance to win on TV? Vision? There's no salad, but Indy gets penalized. It's Irwin for 2. Skiller! Power play goal. Aguano. Alien 5. 3. We're tied 3-3 after 40 minutes. 3 more minutes. Hits 5. Double hit. 3 more minutes. Shot. Oh, what a stop. Stewart thought he had it second of the night. Nope. Agitator. Birmingham gets agitated. It's Slager. No shot. McGregor fumbles. Stewart's no. Aggression. Birmingham scores. Well, can Indy survive? They do. They score. Cosler Rose. LaFion Rose. His 6th from McGee. Can Indy win their 4th match of the year? They do! And somehow, in some way, the Indianapolis Racers win 4-3. They win their 4th game in history of the year. Paris over 2, George and LaRose. Wayne Gretzky not doing anything. But yeah, how about that? Indy wins. Now we head to La Belle Provence, Quebec, facing Cincy. Mike Liut and Richard Berger battle each other. Both would do well by 1982. Well, Liut, 2 years after the season, would be the MVP runner-up to Wayne Gretzky for the St. Louis Blues. He did quite well. And you'd be thinking, well, yeah, okay, he's the backup for the MVP, so he won goalie of the year. Unfortunately, the Vezina at the time in the early 80s were for the goalie or goalies who played 25 or more games on the team giving up the least goals against. So it wasn't like your best goalie and all that. It was basically goals against and all that. But by 1982, they changed the rule to best goalie and gave the William Jennings Award for goals against. So Leo the backup to Michel Dion, but he's good. King Richard Brodeur in '82 would have the Canucks win the Western Conference, even though that they should not have been in the conference finals in the first place. I mean, after all, Edmonton was supposed to steamroll the conference, but they got steamrolled by the Kings in the first round. Anyway, since he had, well, Jim Corsi and Lou Love Fazor will be in nets too. Cincy with Robbie Fatorik, future NHL head coach there, Reg Thomas, Jamie Hislop, Peter Marsh. I think Hislop went to Nordiques. Craig Norwich, Mike Gardner, who would do much better with the Capitals, North Stars, Leafs, Rangers, and Coyotes. Bill Gilligan, what a name. Rick Dudley, another future head coach. Dave DeBow, Chuck Lutska, Daryl Meggs, Byron Shutt, Barry Melrose. Well, they got Michel Pariseau, I think, in the stuff. I don't think Birmingham got any players from Indy. I don't think so. Well, anyway, yeah, Baltimore and Pariseau are coming on the way to Cincy soon. Dave Forbes, Barry Lake, a young Mark Messier playing for Cincy. Don't forget about that. Classe Savor, Gordy Clark, Ed Gilbert, Paul Stewart, Byron Watson, and Kelly Davis. Nordiques going with Brad Cloutier, Mark Tardif, Serge Bernier. They'll be getting Rich LeDuc soon. Paul Baxter, Bob Fischer, J.C. Tremblay, former Habitant. Well, Tardif was a former Hab too. Gary Riviere, the Bordelot brothers, Paulin and Christian, Alain Cote, Brackenberry, Dan Jeffrey on Boom Boom's son, Francis Lacombe, Dale Hogan, son, Norm Drupe, Shields Bilodeau, Wally Weir, Kevin Morrison, Richard David, Jim Dory, Pierre Legas, and Kevin Devine. Because of the Really, Clark will be coming up soon. But anyway, because of the whole French Canadian thing, I'll be speaking French as fast as I can. 6 minutes partout, l'enfonçant, la cochon, I'll fight. Looks a weir. So Quebec will be hit hard because Weir is a good player. Après the fight. Tartif mène le but numéro 16, assist par Pauline Boudreau numéro 6 et Hoogensen numéro 10. 6 minutes partout. La chance est Brackenberry, deuxième but de la saison, l'assist par Tartif numéro 17 et Bernier numéro 10. Quebec good. Cincinnati 0 après 20 minutes. 10 minutes partout. Trois-0, Pauline Bourdelot, numéro 6. Sixième but. Le 6 par Le Rivière et Tartif, numéro 18 par 2. 2 minutes partout. C'est Tirou, Dudley the Dragon, numéro 8. Le 6 par Fatouric, numéro 19 de la saison. 3 minutes partout. C'est Arrête, Verdor. 4 minutes partout. Dear Fraternal, 5 minutes partout. Et c'est 3 à Québec après 2 périodes de le match. 3 minutes partout. La feat. Melrose et Le Rivière. Big movement for Quebec because Will Rivière is all those assists since he just loses Barry Melrose. 6 minutes later. A real deal. 23e de la saison, l'assist par Lacombe, numéro 8. Running out the clock, an injury, since he gets penalized, it's Rich Thomas. And they score! Turkey from Bordelot and Chris Bordelot and Bernier. The second of the night. Boglio might as well finish the match. And they do. Quebec crushes Cincy 5-1. Big win for them. Okay, so the Sunday, Cincy, Indy face each other, and Cincy beat Indy, and Quebec shuts out Winnipeg. So Quebec proving their worthy. We're going to be doing New England versus Edmonton, the two top teams at this point. It was destiny. John Garrett, the backup goalie to Al Smith mostly, but he played a lot in Hartford in the 80s. And Dave Dryden goes for Edmonton. No Wayne Gretzky, no John Hughes yet. So Edmonton will have to buy their time with Gretzky. The Whale, well, Mark, Marty, and Gordie Howe. Of course, they would do that. They were all together with Houston, then they folded. Then the Whalers says, we'll take their contracts. And then those three guys became Hartford Whalers the next year. Andre Lacroix, WHA superstar, many teams. He played for many hats. Mike Rogers, who would go on to do many things for the Rangers organization. Dave Keelan, who left Toronto because of the WHA and never came back. Gordy Roberts, 1,000 games as an American defenseman, which is hard to do. Warren Miller, Mike Antonovich, Pine McKenzie, leaving the Bruins and 2 Stanley Cups behind to play in the WHA. George Lyle, Alan Hansleben, Rick Lay left the Leafs behind to do the WHA. Ron Plum, Jordy Douglas, Brett Selwood left the Leafs. Jim Warner, Blaine Stoughton, and Dave Inkpen are on their way to Whaletown soon. Larry Plow, former Canadian. Jack Carlson, part of the Slapshot gang. Pierre Watt, and Jeff Brubaker. Edmonton, Blair McDonald, Brett Callahan, Ron Chipperfield, the first Oilers captain in NHL history. Bill Cowboy Flett, yes, that one from the Flyers. Dennis Upchuck, Stan Weir, who got mind gamed the next year in 1980 when the Oilers faced the Leafs in Toronto, where the live mice were on the ice. Joe Micheletti, former Rangers color commentator Paul Schmier, Al Hamilton, who's number 3, is retired by the Oilers, even though he never played in the NHL. Steve Carlson is there, so the two Carlsons facing each other. Peter Driscoll will be there. Dave Hunter, Claire Alexander, Dave Langevin, who go on to the Islanders. Dave Semenko, the protector. Doug Barry, Ace Bailey, who died on 9/11. Ray Siltland, Bill Goldsberg, the former North Stars icon. Jim Nielsen, Pierre Gutte, and West George. 6 minutes later, double fight. And then Enforcer, and now we have a fight. It's Hank Zlobin and Dave Hunter. Brutal for Edmonton because Hunter's a good player. Edmonton hits LaCroix. 5 minutes later. New England Skiers, the Howell brothers. Marty his third from Mark Howell, and LaCroix even helps him. So they didn't need goalie at all. And it's 1-0 through 20. 6 minutes later. England goes a hit on Antonovich. Much later. This game's going quickly. 5 minutes later. They score! Stan the man. That's number 12. There's some meat on the ice. No, there aren't. Callahan and Driscoll with the assist. 1-1 through 14 minutes. Battle. Russian. Edmonton takes a 2-minute call at Semenko. Of course it would be. And another penalty. Schmear on Mark Howell. Oh boy. I do it. George Lyle. Shazam. Lyle. Shazam. Lyle. Shazam. His 7 from Mike Rogers. And George Lyle tried again, but fuck. Pressure. No one for well. Gordy Roberts for 2. And to the Skiers, Peter Driscoll. Power play goal. Peter Pucking Eater from Schmear and Blair. 3 minutes later. 2 minutes. Aggression? Chance? No. Edmonton gets a penalty. It's Semenko. Oh boy. Rick Lay. Oh, what a stop by Dave Dryden. Ken's older brother. No shot by Gordy. And the Skiers! Stan the man. The final minute from Steve Carlson. New England can't believe it. They were going to overtime. They score! Tie game! Andre Lacroix from Hal and Keon. How about that? Andre Lacroix with 3 friggin' seconds left. We are going to overtime. 10 minutes. Question? And the Skiers! Overtime and Stan the man of the year gets third in the night. 14th of the year. And they're going to throw some mice on the ice. Nah, they're just kidding. They're not. Stan Weir wins it on La Progation from Schmear and Langevin, and the Oiler Drops are now 16-5. All right, so the 4th, nothing. The 5th, so New England beats Cincy. The 6th sees Edmonton beat Quebec. Cincy beats Birmingham. Indy can't beat Winnipeg, and New England beats Edmonton, getting revenge on them. Edmonton faces Birmingham, with Birmingham winning 5-2, and Quebec beats Cincy 3-0. But there's a red flag, Soviet Union. So we are going to go through the Soviet Union's 6-game trip through the NHL. Indianapolis are not done yet. They've gone 23 games, but they fold before the Russians get to them. Edmonton and Quebec are at 34 points each. Edmonton does have 2 games in hand. New England 32, Winnipeg 28. Cincy's got 24. They're not that bad. Birmingham, meh. But yeah, the goal scoring thing is real clutches to lose, if you will. So yeah, you know what? It's weird. Pat Reagan has only 3 wins in 12 games. Yeah, he has better goals against than Michel Dion, who have 6 wins for the Stingers. So we're gonna go through the 6-game Soviet Union trip through every team except for Indianapolis, and then we'll go through the Czech trip and all that, and then I'll have to figure out what I do from here on out. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.